Hi everyone and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Shadowbox card that lays flat without dies. Well, I'm going to use a die for the hole, but you could not use a die for the hole. Anyhow, we start off with a letter size cardstock. This is lemon chiffon by My Favorite Things. It measures 11 inches by 8.5. And we're going to cut that down so it measures 5 7/8 by 8.5. That is a little bit more than a half of the cardstock. I then turn it down and I'm going to split that card piece into two. So it ends up, I have two pieces measuring 4.25 by 5 7/8. And those pieces are going to be the front and the back of, and the sides of the box. And then I'm gonna do the delimiters. The delimiters are going to measure 4 3/4 inch by 3/8 inch. And the width of the shadow box that I'm doing makes it really nice to have two delimiters at the bottom and two at the top. So you basically get 4 levels in the shadow box, but more about that when we come closer to that. For all the measurements, I have them as a little downloadable PDF on my blog, so there will be a link in the description down below. Just jump on over there and you'll find all of the measurements for this shadow box. This shadow box, when laid flat, because you can lay it flat after you decorate it, will fit in an A2 card envelope, sized envelope. So here I'm going to score the front and the back and score them the same. First at a 4-inch mark and then at a 3/8 inch from the other hole. So it's at 4 inches and at 5.5 inches, which will give us the front or back, one of the sides and the tab to put them together. For these little pieces, I am scoring them at 3/8 inch, and then I'm turning them upside down because that will help us to be able to fold these little tabs in a Z pattern. You will see when we fold and burnish how I mean about that. But I turn it upside down, like just flip it over, and I do another score. And then I go through all those pieces and do the exact same at 3/8 inch on both sides. Then I'm going to go in and do cut the little tabs a little bit, miter I think it's called, to just make them a little bit thinner. This will help so you don't have edges that poke out at the bottom or at the top of the card. I'm going to do that same thing with the little tabs on both of these bigger cardstock. So I'm going in and just mitering the corners just slightly. It makes it easier to line everything up. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to fold everything, and I fold it with the little bump inwards. That is the best way to get a really nice crease. It has to do with how you push the materials in the paper, basically. So you fold it towards the bump, and you do the same thing with all of these little ones. Here you see how I said fold them like a little Z. I didn't need to burnish these because they don't need to lie flat and they were very easy to fold. So just do them as a little Z, and there we have everything folded. So now we're going to take one of these and we're going to cut a hole in it. So I'm choosing this little die. It is a scalloped stitched die. We're not going to get any stitch details because we're going to have kind of the outer piece of it. But that was what I had. I would have liked to have one that is opposite. However, I didn't have one of those dies. You could just cut a hole with a knife and a ruler, or with the help of your if you have one of those fiskars that I have, you can cut with those too. But I use a die because it makes it easier. One thing to remember is that you want make sure that you have 3 1/8 of an inch around the hole so that you can hide all the tabs, so you can't see the tabs. To put it together, I am using a tape. It is 1/4 of an inch wide. Mine is called the Sookwang tape. I bought it on eBay, but the same manufacturer actually makes a lot of different names for it, because different companies buy it by different names. So it's called Sookwang tape or Scor-Tape or Be Creative tape. It's the same tape, just another name for it. You can also use red tape because it has that extra stickiness. It's very good to make boxes or similar things out of it. So add a little piece of it on each little tab so that they can sit good together. And then I go in and I burnish, so I kind of push down on the tape a little bit with the help of my bone folder. Now I'm going to line these up, and because it is 1.5 inch, I want to have it about at the 1/2 inch mark. So at 1/2 inch and at a full inch is where I'm going to line these little tabs up, because then you have about the same amount of space in between them. And that is also why I made it 3/8 of an inch, because then you have a little bit of a space between the different tabs also. So you have a little bit more moving room. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm lining it up at about a 1/2 inch mark. The little dots marks the 1/2 inch on my cutting board. So I'm using that, or cutting mat. So I'm using that to line them up. I'm doing that again. And now I'm doing it both at the top and the bottom. You don't need to have both at the top or bottom. The reason why I do that is because I like having things hanging down, as you will see later on. Now we're going to put the back and the front together. So we're going to start off with the little tab here. So I just fold these over. I fold that over so that I can remove the tape. And then I line it up with the wide part of the other card, making sure that the tab is in the same directions, because you want to make a rectangular box out of this without a top and a bottom, if that makes sense. So I just line them up, trying to get them to lie straight. Again, using my the lines on my mat to do that. It helps a lot. And here's a little tip to make these little tabs lay better, because you want to do that, because that will put them at the right place immediately, and then you don't have to fiddle. This is also why I put these little tabs in now and not afterwards, because this will make it so much easier. So all I do is I line them up, I remove the tape, and then I fold this over, and that will pick them up in the right places. As you see, it's like magic. And to finish it off, I'm going to remove the tape on that little tab. And now here, you don't need that much lining up. All you have to do is just fold this over. Be a little bit careful when you line it up, but it's much, much easier. Push it down and you have your shadow box. Super simple. And you can always just fold it down again. And the reason why I had those in a Z shape is because the little tabs is because then they will lie flat when you flatten out the card, and you will get less bulk. Now we're going to do the kind of back side or backdrop of my shadow box. So now we're into the decoration phase. So I'm going to use some Tumbled glass, cracked pistachio, and twisted citron distress inks. You can use any kind of dye inks for these kind of things. It's just that I have all of the distress inks, so I have a tendency to be pulled to those and use those. So I'm using the tumbled glass at the top, and then I kind of use a little bit of the cracked pistachio towards the bottom. just because I wanted to have a little bit of a mixture of colors and just not that flat blue. It also helps to make it look more dimensional, because blue things seems to be a little bit further away than green things. Now we're going to do the small little piece of grass. I didn't have my grass dies at this time. If I had, I would have made the little top edge actually be grass shaped, but in this case I just made it a little bit round and just have to live with it. And then I started with the twisted citron, realized after a while here that I had picked up the cracked pistachio with my twisted citron thing. Decided, well, we're gonna go with it and just add a little bit more of the cracked pistachio on to kind of bind them together. Then I colored all of my images, and the coloring of these images you can find in a separate video, and that will be in the description down below and also at the end of the video. So if you want to see the coloring, you can see it there, but here is just a little taste of it. That is, however, in real time, and it does have a voiceover. After I colored all of these little images, which are from the Pretty Princess and the Friendly Unicorn stamp sets, I wanted to make a sentiment. This is a Peach Bellini cardstock. I do not think My Fairy Thing has it at this moment. I'm hoping they take it back because it's a beautiful dusty peachy pink. And it goes so well with the lemon chiffon. I just love how it coordinates with the lemon chiffon, which was the cardstock I used for the Shadowbox. I'm doing a little bit of a heat embossing with some Hero Arts white, fine white embossing powder. Just a tip, don't flick like I do. That can flick too much and can make the embossing a little bit more bubbly than it should be. I'm then going to use this little die, but I wanted to have the little flag dies on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to take this die and I'm going to just go through it halfway through. So you're going to see here, I am taking the die, I'm lining it up the way I want, and then I'm letting the end of the die just be outside of the plates, which means that it will not cut there, as you see here. Now, after I run it through, it will not cut there. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to cut off. You can do this just to shorten the die, but in this case, because I want the same kind of flag end on both sides, and I didn't have a wide enough flag. I do this all the time, and you might have noticed that I kind of use my dies for multiple purposes. I realized that this was a little bit too long, so I let it go through the die again after shifting it once. So this is how I want it to be set up. I'm going to start by adding my background and my middle piece. I'm just using the Funky Tape Runner by Tonic. It's my absolute favorite tape runner. It is small enough for my little hands, and it also have a lot on it, and it does take refills, so it doesn't feel like I'm throwing away a lot of plastic, which is really awesome. I'm then gonna do the after I added that one, I'm gonna add the little hill, just making sure that it doesn't go on the lower than the bottom of this. Then I'm going to use some plastic film. This is like OH film, I don't know. You can buy it, I think I bought mine at Office Depot. You just see-through plastic. I have a big box of it. I've had it for years, and I use small strips now and then. So for the first one, I am going to add this little unicorn, and it's gonna look like the unicorn, is jumping over the hill. So I'm adding it with that same Sookwang tape because it sticks really, really good to that plastic. And then like this, you see, it looks like she's jumping. Now I'm going to add all of the little clouds. So I'm going to use that offcut that I did, and I'm going to add it to my super teeny tiny clouds. If you want to know how I colored them, again, that is in my coloring video, but I have a lot of these. I usually color a lot more details than I need when I do one of those scenes. I rather have too many than too few, and having to stop in the middle of a creative picking things together kind of session just because I need more things. I rather have more than I need. So I'm adding all of these little clouds at different levels. So those clouds I think was on the same level as my unicorn. And then I adding these bigger clouds actually directly to the background. Because I thought I didn't want them hanging around because they were so big. Just making sure that I don't put them on top of the unicorn. Then I decided I wanted a couple of more clouds, and this time I'm gonna hang them one level even closer to the viewer. So I have already added little details that are 3 levels deep. So the back, the next to the back, and the one that is next to the front. So it's 4 levels deep, this shadow box. I thought these clouds were so cute. They were so cute. And as I said, all of these stamps are a mixture of stamps from the Pretty Princesses and the Friendly Unicorn. So I love both those stamp sets. They are super adorable. After I put all of my clouds on, I'm gonna concentrate on the bottom and the front. So I'm gonna add this little wagon. And again, this is where this see-through plastic is great because there's so many little details on that wagon. So it would be hard to figure out where to put an anchor that wasn't see-through, even though you don't really see the plastic. So I put that on the level one step, almost the same level as the front. And then I'm going to add this. As you see, it folds down wonderfully. Still, even though it has all this detail, it still folds down. I'm going to add my little princess and the unicorn. And then this was actually my plan, was to add the little crowns as parts of the decoration on top. You can see I have a couple of flowers at the edge of the screen. I never ended up using them, both because I wasn't happy with the coloring, but also because I felt it would make the whole design a little bit too busy. I'm using my Lawfon glue pen for the glue, and I added way too much glue there, so I'm just using a piece of paper to remove some of the glue, and then I'm gluing these little crowns down, and now we're done. This is the whole shadow box. I hope you liked it. I had so much fun doing it. All of the different sizes and everything are in the description down below, and so are links to all of the products that are used in this video. If you liked it, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions, any tips, any other things you want me to do, put them in the description down below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!